let's get right into our first conversation. They say an injury to one is an injury to all. And if we're trying to build a society, then we must ensure that press freedom is non-negotiable, which is why a lot of people were shocked to hear that in the process of trying to get to a journalist, the police went through his wife and child, sort of detained them and used him as bait. But we have joining us right here in our studio, Sadiqa Atonda, a senior investigative reporter, Foundation for Investigative Journalism. Sadiq, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning, Okikela.
It's good to have you on the show. I imagine that it must have been a very harrowing experience for you, having your wife and child arrested in the process, trying to get to you. So let's walk back a bit. Walk us through what exactly played out for the benefit of those who may have not followed the story.
Okay, so I wrote the story in November about the COS transaction for COS means Certificate of Sponsorship that is usually needed for employment in the US. So there was a man who paid for 2 individuals, and then he paid this money to one Mr. Awuyinfa Adeyemi. So he paid this it was £15,000, and then the man did not deliver the COS. And that was the complaint that we got at FIJ. And we collected all the evidence that we needed, including receipts, transaction receipts, and then their WhatsApp chats, all of them, a bulk of evidence. And then I wrote this story, and before we wrote the story, I contacted the man on the other side, that was Adeyemi, and then his lawyer responded, and their own response was also part of the story. And the lawyer said the matter was being investigated at the Akubo police station in Ibadan. So I referred to my source, and then the man said the matter was not being investigated. So because my source was the one who actually initiated the report at the Akubo police station in Ibadan. And I called the DPO that was involved, who was involved in that case at the time, and then the man said the matter never went into a full investigation. That all he did was to call Adeyemi on the phone, because he said Adeyemi was in the UK at the time, and then my source too was in the UK when this transaction happened, and then he recommended that my source takes up the case with him in the UK where the matter happened, and that was the last conversation they had on that matter. And the man said even if the matter was being investigated, it's past 2 years, and the police have never, if at all the matter was being investigated, he had never been contacted for any clarification since then. So that was the story we published. And then after publication, his lawyer reached out to say we should retract the story and publish an apology, and then agree on compensation that we are willing to pay his client. And then I informed my editor, and then my editor took notice of that, and then he said if they want to take up a legal action with us, probably beyond the letter, then we will be expecting any further communication with them. And then so in the days and weeks that followed, I observed through personal security tips, I observed that my phone had been infected. So I noticed that my phone was being tracked. So I informed my employer, FIJ, my editor-in-chief, my editor. So everybody was aware, and then we decided to publish an alert that this was happening to my phone. And so one of the sources I suspected was tracking or had infected my phone with a tracking device was an officer from the IGP monitoring units at Obalende. So this man sent an invitation to me on WhatsApp. He just sent it on WhatsApp, and I was asking who is this person, and he didn't mention his name. I said he works there, and I said okay. The first thing I noticed was that the headshot on his profile was that of the president, and I was like, I don't have the impression that I'm chatting with a policeman. I suspect this is a politician. So if And if this invitation is legitimate at all, then I am not the right person to receive this. So I gave him our editorial email address through which we receive communications like that. That, okay, forward this to this email address, and then we will respond to you. And then he said, me, no, was not for my organization, but for me. But that was a lie. I told him, this must be work-related, and you cannot invite me in my personal capacity. So I told my editor all of this, and my editor-in-chief too, and then his response to my request to forward the email to forward the letter to our email address was that, all right, sir, no problem. And I think 2 or 3 days after, when I confirmed from our admin department.
So you didn't get a mail?
So I sent a reminder to him that, please, we are still expecting your email address, your letter to our email address, so that we can appropriately respond. And then he did not say anything.
So how did it spiral to the arrest of your wife?
So I was at work on Monday, and I was going to stay longer beyond the close of business because I had a story I was working on. But I think some minutes after 4 to 5, my wife called me that my baby was sick, and she thought that she should go to the hospital, but she wanted to wait for me until I come home. I said, if it's a serious matter, you don't have to wait for me. Then go to the hospital. Then as I'm coming back from work, I will just join you there. Then I said,
how old is your baby?
9 months.
9 months, all right.
So born in March last year. No, March this year rather. So then after our first call, I called again that, how serious is the situation that you want us to go to the hospital, right? So have you given him preliminary medicines, because she has a couple of syrups that it takes. She said she had done that, and the situation was stabilizing. How many times have you done this? When did you even notice that she had a fever? She said, in the morning. Okay, how many times have you given him syrups today? And he said in the morning. She said in the morning and then in the afternoon. Okay. I said, okay, I'm coming home. And she told me, oh, maybe she does not want to go to the hospital again. So I said, okay, just wait for me and then I'll come home. So while speaking with her, I overheard some voices in the background, male voices. And I asked her that, okay, is the situation that serious that
who are the people
that
in the
infected our neighbors? Because I thought people in the background were our neighbors. She said no. I thought if she was in the bedroom or in the sitting room, I wouldn't be hearing those voices. She said no, she didn't invite anybody. Okay, wait for me. So I was going home, and when on my way, I called her again. Okay, I'm almost home, and then she said, okay, no problem. So, not knowing that all those times when I was speaking with her, she was at the Owutu police station with my baby. So, but when and then let me also mention that her phone was with the police officers. So each time I had to call her, they will be the one to pick the call and put it on speaker for them to hear our conversation. And I never knew all of this. Then I was going home, and they will say, they will ask her to ask me where I was, and then I will tell her because I didn't know anything. And
so, just to be clear, the point that your wife called you that your baby was ill,
yes,
she was at the police station.
Yes.
So your child wasn't really ill at that point?
It wasn't really.
So was it the police that told your wife to trick you?
Yes.
To say that your wife, your baby is ill and she'll come?
Yes. They even told her that she should make it more serious, that I would have to leave whatever I was doing to come. That they told her to say she was ill, and then he was ill, and then had been rushed to the hospital, because they even wanted to follow her to the hospital, to a particular hospital around Isawu, and then go there and speak with a doctor on duty to say this was their mission, so that the hospital will cooperate with them. But when I said my wife should wait for me, that was how they didn't go. And then she asked them to allow her to tell me where she was. And then they said no, that if I knew, then I would not come, I would run away. So I got home. Then when they knew that I was on my way home, then they left Owutu police station to our neighborhood, to my area. And then they parked somewhere by the roadside. So by the time I came down from a bus, I entered into the street, and my wife pointed me to them that's it. Then they followed me. So I knocked the door thinking that she was inside, and then everywhere was silent. Nobody answered me, and then I was like, what's the problem? Before I could turn back, someone just held me by the waist, saying you're under arrest. There were two. And I was like, what's my offense? And immediately that happened, I knew that was the outcome of the tracking that I had suspected all along. So I followed them, and they said I should calm down because my wife and baby are in their car. So that was what got me angry. What is the problem? Why did you arrest my wife in my place? I said I should just calm down. So I did not calm down because I was very, very angry. So we got to the roadside. There was a scene. People had to come. People had to come to know what was happening. But of course, there wasn't anything they could do.
So if you get because let's posit your story correctly. You wrote a story.
Yes, sir.
Which got maybe some persons uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then they decided to involve the police.
Yes.
And the police, in carrying out their investigation or their responsibility, did not follow due process, because you said they sent you a WhatsApp message. I don't know how that works, because if you send me a WhatsApp message, I'm not even going to answer you. And then you were kind enough, based on what you said, to say, please, it's a corporation I'm working with, and you know how structured it is. Please write to the corporation, we'll respond to you appropriately. Rather than do that, they resorted to this Gestapo approach, because that's what I see it as, to pick up your wife and your child and make their wife to lie so that they can lure you to the police station. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, yes.
Beyond what you have said so far, was there any other form of invitation handed to you that you declined to honor?
No.
What is the name of the police officer?
There were three. I don't know the third person's name, but I know of two.
What
one was Officer Moses, and then the other was Officer Okpe Irianacho.
Which police station?
Force headquarters, Obalende, at Kamsalem House, Obalende. So they said they were attached to the IGP monitoring unit.
Who do they report to?
I think they report to the IGP.
Directly?
Yes, because they are called IGP monitoring units. So of course I believe they have commanders, but that is their title. I'm going by that particular title. I believe the IGP knows about their operations. So
sorry, Bukola. So now they arrested you with your child and your I want to put it correctly, your 9-month-old baby, because
yes,
that is a very serious offense. That's why I'm asking all of this detail, because we're already escalating it. Whoever did this has to answer a lot of questions. And it's a very, very serious question the person must answer on this matter. So after they arrested you, and you say you were infuriated because they arrested your wife, especially your child with your wife,
yes,
what now happened after then? Did they release them immediately? What exactly did they do with them?
They didn't release them immediately. The two of them had to follow us. I mean, for us, the police officers and myself, and my wife and baby, we had to go to the Owutu police station together.
So, sorry for cutting you. I'm building a case here. Following you means that they wanted her to follow you,
yes,
or
yes,
she said, I want to follow my husband.
They wanted her to follow me.
Okay.
So then we go back to Owutu police station, and then I entered the premises, but she stayed outside to make some calls. So all along, our phone was with them, was with the police officers. So when we were done, we went inside to, they had to go inside to inform the police officers or the head of that station that they were done with the operation in that area. And then we came out, and then that was where they returned our phone, and she wanted to follow us, but they said she could not. So it was at that point that they released her and then released her phone.
So what did they do with you?
They took me. They drove me from that police station, down to police station to Obalende. And before we got to Obalende, we had to go to Oshodi first, where the third officer or the third person, I don't know his name, alighted. I don't know his final destination, but the place she came down was at Oshodi, near a police station that is around the BRT terminal there.
So, cumulatively, how long was your wife and child detained for?
For about 5 hours.
For about 5 hours. And eventually they were released after 5 hours?
Yes.
And how long were you detained?
I was not put in any room, because by the time we got to Walende, the officers who arrested me said they wanted to add me over to the IPO. So the IPO was not immediately ready. So I sat down for about an hour, handcuffed, because handcuffs were.
You were handcuffed?
Yes, I was handcuffed.
What was a charge read out to you? Because I don't understand the handcuff part.
So when they eventually handed me over to the IPO, he asked them to remove the handcuffs, and then he was taking me into the service. In fact, he wanted to even go and detain me, because one officer said what I did was bad, I did a very bad job or whatever, and that I should be, the IPO should go and sign a detention warrant inside and detain me until the next stage, when I will be produced in court. So while I was going upstairs to do that, I think he got a call from, he said he got a call from his commander that the IGP has ordered my release with immediate effect. So, and some minutes later, we went upstairs together, we went to his office, and then I signed a release bond on self-recognition. So, and he gave me a copy of the petition. So in the petition, I saw that the petition was not just about me. That was why I said earlier that what the officer said, what that particular officer who sent me the letter on WhatsApp said, that the letter was for me and not my organization. That was why I said it was a lie. My name was mentioned as many times as FIJ was mentioned in that particular petition. So why did this single out me as an individual and not the organization that I work for? So I read the petition, and then he wanted me to make a statement, but I said I was not going to make a statement. My editor-in-chief also had to call that I should not make any statement until my lawyers are around. And I'm also, because the instruction or the directive was that I should be released unconditionally.
So I'm wondering if you're going to take up, the illegal and very unjust detention of your family besides you. I'm wondering if you're going to take that up because it should. It's totally condemnable. But building your case now, the instigator and the lawyer whom the story touched on, they have still not written officially to your organization as you required up until this time. So what is the next line of action now around the case and, of course, the case that has been initiated against you?
Well, we have not heard anything from the police since I was released about taking up a case with them. It's still a conversation we are having at FIJ. So, but there's also another aspect that I've not touched on. It's the fact that 3 of my neighbors were first arrested before they got my wife. So they used 3 of my neighbors, they arrested them one after the other. because they could not get to me directly. They could not get to my wife directly because they were tracking the two of us together, but they could not find a way. So they arrested the people my wife was communicating, because I think when they are tracking someone, they have access to their phone book. So they know who you speak with frequently. So it was one of those people that they first picked, and then that person's wife was invited. The person's wife was told that if they did not produce my wife, then the man will not be released. So the man's wife came to our neighborhood, then she picked someone else. So they went back to the Ogutu police station together, and then when that person got to the Ogutu police station, they showed the person my wife's phone number. They dialed my wife's phone number on her phone, and then they saw our phone number come up, and then they came to our apartment again, and then that was when they picked me. So persons.
All of this because of the story you did.
Yes.
So we wanted to share your story and have you speak to it, because for a lot of people this happens and they never get a chance to speak about it. So this highlights the operations of the police. Yes, I know that the Inspector General of Police, Kade Betoku, ordered the sanction of the head of that police unit and all of that. We'll follow that up as well. But to highlight some of these practices, so the police authorities will be fully aware, I imagine they're aware, but at least it's on record that this has been spoken about, and they must do right. If you want to pick up someone, there are procedures. There's what the law says. You did a story, you didn't commit a crime, right? But Sadiq, we have to thank you so much. I imagine that this has been traumatic. Do you feel safe, by the way, right now? Yes or no?
Well, I do not feel safe until I do one or two things that I'm doing personally.
All right. But we're going to be following the story. We wish you the very best.
So please touch base with us and all of that. And Kade has talked about sanction. I would like to know what kind of sanction. Because anybody who crosses that line of decency, any sanction apart from dismissal and prosecution is not a sanction in my books. This is a 9-year-old child. Under no circumstances, 9 months old,
even if
9 months
old
child. Whoever that police officer is, whoever gave that order, should be sacked and disgraced out of our force, because that is not a representation of the practice of the Nigerian police force that we are friends to. We do, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes they feel we're not enemies of anyone. We're just doing our job.
Yes.
So if you have a problem with anything we're doing, there's a channel to do that. We're involved in 9 months old baby. That's where I think everybody must condemn.
And it's solid, Atana. We have to thank you so much for your time, senior investigative reporter at the FIJ. Please, wish you the very best.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.